What's going on, CrossFit Federal Way? It is time for the Backyard Battle Royale, and I'm here today to announce to you what event number 1 will be. So follow me this way. All right, guys. So event number 1 of the Backyard Battle Royale is going to be a workout called Red Light, Green Light. Now, we're going to talk through the prescribed version, and I'll cover the scaled version after, as well as some movement standards for what we're getting ourselves into. So this workout starts off with, at 3, 2, 1, go, athletes are going to perform a 4-minute AMRAP, starting off with 12 deadlifts at 225 pounds for guys, 155 pounds for the ladies, and 8 bar facing burpees. From there, we rest for 2 minutes. We then go into another 4-minute AMRAP, this time of 12 pull-ups and 8 push-ups. Just normal body weight, just normal pull-ups, normal push-ups, all that stuff. Then we go and rest 2 minutes again. We're going to do 2 more rounds. We start off on 4 more minutes of an AMRAP. This time the deadlifts go up, the reps swap. So the deadlifts for the guys in the prescribed version is going to be 275. For the ladies, it will be 185. We're doing 8 reps of those deadlifts and then 12 bar facing burpees. We then rest 1 more time for 2 minutes. And then we go into a 4-minute AMRAP of 8 chest to bar pull-ups now and 12 deficit push-ups. The way the deficit push-ups are going to work is guys are going to have 2 35-pound plates and gals are going to have 2 25-pound plates. Now the plates will all match. That way everyone is using the same deficit. So that means you can't just grab the really skinny 25s and be like, hey, it's still 25s. No, we're all going to be using the same plates. The tie break for this workout is going to be specifically on that third 4-minute AMRAP of the heavier deadlifts and the bar facing burpees. Your total rounds and reps for that one AMRAP is going to be your tie break score. So if you match anybody else, this one round matters. So that way you have to push yourself maybe a little bit harder than you want to in the middle of this workout. Your score, though, is going to be your total repetitions completed. So every single rep from all 4 of those AMRAPs added together will be your score. So before we get to the scaled version of this workout, let's talk about some movement standards for our prescribed athletes. Now, starting with the deadlift. The deadlift will start at 225 for guys. Big things to think about here is just going to be good, solid finish position and making sure that that barbell touches the floor every time. So the bar is going to start on the ground. You're going to stand all the way up until you're at extension. What we're looking for at extension is shoulders are behind the bar and you're standing up nice and tall. One thing we want to watch out for, though, is accelerating that barbell on the way down. We're not going to count any reps that bounce. So if I'm driving my bar into the floor and then standing up with it, those reps are not going to count. You want to see a controlled descent and then a controlled ascent. Deadlift is all pretty straightforward. Athletes will be in charge of changing their own weights. So during your 2-minute rest before your heavier deadlifts, you'll add the weight to increase that load. For bar facing burpees, you have to be facing the bar. Nothing to a side or an angle. This isn't a lateral burpee or anything of that nature. Chest must be parallel or perpendicular to that barbell. So coming down, chest and thighs hit the floor. I'm going to come over, jump over, and land. It is a 2-foot takeoff, but not a 2-foot landing. So if I'm jumping and I get one of these guys, it doesn't count, no rep. If I have a 2-foot takeoff and my feet don't land at the same time, totally okay. So make sure you're being conscious of having both of those feet in that jump at the same time. So 2-foot takeoff is required, 2-foot landing is not. Make sure you're pacing yourself on these burpees because they will get spicy later on. Now looking at the pull-ups and the push-ups. Pull-ups are all pretty straightforward. I need to make sure that my arms are fully extended at the bottom of the pull-up and my chin is breaking the horizontal plane of that bar as I'm coming over. Does not matter what my pull-ups look like. It can be strict, it can be kipping, it can be butterfly. It doesn't matter what they look like as long as I'm meeting those standards. For the push-up, it's pretty classic push-up here. It's going to be in a high plank position. Chest needs to come down and contact the floor. and then back up to full extension. So try your best to keep that body moving in one plane. So don't just hinge at the hips, and move your upper body. Make sure that legs and chest are all moving together on those push-ups. Now for the second piece, the deadlift we've already talked about, the bar facing burpees we've already talked about. For chest to bar pull-ups, it's vital that every single one of those chest to bars, the bar is making contact somewhere at or below the collarbone. If I'm not actually making contact, that's a no rep. So it doesn't matter if my chest to bar barely touches underneath my collarbone, or if I'm really getting up there and getting some good contact. Either way, arms will start at the bottom fully extended, contact with the chest at or below the collarbone for credit on those reps for our prescribed athletes. Now for the deficit push-up, we're gonna measure these plates out. Based on the athlete, you're gonna come down onto the floor. Your plates need to be wide enough that your chest can make contact with the floor. So what I'd recommend is get your hands on the plates and maybe have a friend as you're helping up, or as you're setting up for this, push those plates in to where they kind of graze the outside of your chest. That way my plates are close enough that I can keep my hands in an advantageous position, but I'm gonna come all the way down, chest touches the floor, and back up to full extension, adding that few inches of extra range of motion for those push-ups. So that covers most of our movement standards. There will be a layout on the floor, some requirements of where the bars go relative to the rig, things like that, to make transitions fair for all of our athletes. We will talk about that on Saturday, and your coaches will inform you of that if you're making up a workout on Sunday or Thursday. So that is everything for our prescribed athletes for this workout. For scaled, let's take a look back at the board. So for the scaled division, same structure as our prescribed, but what we're looking for here, or what we're looking at in terms of weight, for the deadlifts, for the guys, it's gonna start at 165 pounds. For the gals, that barbell will start at 115 pounds. And you're still doing bar facing burpees. It's the same standard on the bar facing burpee, except step overs instead of jumps are totally allowed. So you can step over your barbell instead of worrying about 2-foot takeoff and all that sort of stuff. So if you're an athlete that's worried about bar facing burpees because jumping over that barbell is challenging, don't worry about it. We got you covered. Step overs are okay. For the second piece, we're doing jumping pull-ups and then push-ups off a 24-inch box. So an elevated position for those push-ups. We then go to the heavier deadlift and the bar facing burpees. For guys, the weight is going to be 205 pounds. And for the ladies, that will be 145 pounds. So we go through that couplet. And then on the last one, it's going to be jumping chest to bar pull-ups and then push-ups off a 20-inch box. So the second time with the push-ups, box is a little bit lower, making that push-up a little more challenging. And then the jumping pull-up is going to be a chest to bar now instead of a regular pull-up. So let's go take a look at some of the standards here. We won't talk about the bar facing burpee and the deadlift. We'll just talk about the jumping pull-ups and the push-ups off the box. So if you want to follow me this way. When we're measuring for a jumping pull-up, I'm going to set up a box, maybe some plates, something else like that, something underneath the bar that's going to make it to where when I hold my hand over my head, that bar is going to land on the middle of my forearm. Now I realize that anatomically some athletes are built a little bit different. It's going to be based on where the middle of your forearm lands when your hands are extended overhead. This is going to be the same measurement for every jumping pull-up and every jumping chest to bar pull-up. It will be the same distance. So when I'm looking at a jumping pull-up, my feet can be on the box. I need to still hit extension of my arms, so it's important that my arms are straight. From there, I can jump and get my chin over the bar. As long as I'm breaking that plane and I'm hitting extension, those jumping pull-ups are going to count. What won't count is if I'm not extending my arms or if I'm not getting my chin over the bar. So if I'm jumping and I'm not getting over the bar, doesn't matter how hard I'm working, those won't be good reps. If I'm not hitting extension, then none of those reps will count either. So make sure you're bending and loading your legs and hitting extension of those arms that they're nice and straight. Now for the chest to bar, same concept as with the prescribed athletes. that pull-up bar is going to hit your chest at or below your collarbone. So you're gonna think about pulling down a little bit harder and trying to get your chest up to that bar on that jump. Same standards apply with the arms. Arms are straight at the beginning. Contact with that pull-up bar on every single rep. Now, for the push-ups. For an example's sake, I have just a 20-inch box here, so this would be the height of the box. For the later round, what we're gonna be doing is hands are gonna go on either side. I'm gonna be in a high plank position. I'm gonna come down, touch my chest to the box, and find full extension. So as long as my body is moving in one range of motion, and everything's nice and tight, and my chest is making contact with the box, those reps will be good reps. I know it seems like these might be easy, but trust me, when you add some intensity in there and some fatigue, they're going to be more challenging. So that is what we're looking at for movement standards for our first event. Red light, green light starts tomorrow morning at the 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. class. Good luck.